All right, Linux Labs on the road again. Let's see here. We're headed towards static IPs on Ubuntu and Fedora. If you've watched the previous two videos, and if you've been trying to follow along, you might have two Ubuntu VMs and a Fedora VM currently configured for dynamic or DHCP IP addresses. We're going to change those to static IPs to make them a little more useful for our purposes here in the lab. To do that, I've started Ubuntu 01 headless. I'm going to do the same thing with Ubuntu 02. I'm doing this just to make them kind of seem more like a remote server, right? I mean, we know that the VM's running local to this machine, but it could just as easily be running on another desktop, like an old desktop machine that I plugged into the network after dusting off from the closet just for this purpose. You fire these things up, even if the desktop machine's running Windows initially while you're learning Linux, and you can start these up in headless mode, and they don't create those consoles right off. And then we should be able to. I'm using Windows Subsystem for Linux. Open a couple of Ubuntu windows here. There we go. Those are all started. Just close out of that. Those VMs should all still be running. Previously, we had gotten the DHCP addresses that were being assigned to each VM, so I've got those in my notes here. That's where they're coming from. I don't just magically remember the dynamic addresses that were assigned. I've also gone through and looked through my router, and I know what subnet is being assigned here. You can kind of, if you're on Windows, go into your network settings, or right-click, network and internet settings. Go into the Ethernet and dig around in there, but be careful doing that stuff. If you break your internet, it's not something I can help you fix. So kind of know what you're doing when you go looking for what your internal LAN subnet is. And once you figure that out, you can find your DHCP range. That's the range of IPs that your server or your home router or whatever's serving your DHCP addresses hands out. In my case, it's configured to hand out I want to say it's like 150 to 250, meaning that for static IPs, I can use anything between 2 and 149, I guess. The .1 I keep on my gateway, on my actual router. A bunch of networking terms we're not actually going to need to know except for putting them into the configurations. Let me split this out here. Split tab. Yeah, nice. All right, I'm going to connect to my two Ubuntu VMs with this one. Start a Fedora remix. Close this. Move it down here. Up here. Yeah. That's all viewable, right? Give you all plenty of history here. And Ubuntu 01 was, let's see, is it good? Did SSH not start? Dubious. Still running. I'm going to click the one I want, and I'm going to hit show here. Oh, what's going on? I wonder if whenever I close the VirtualBox manager, it turned it off. Maybe. Continue running in the background. Minimize. Yeah, that was a problem. So don't close that window. That's going to be messy. I don't like that. Let me exit this window, and I'm just going to make a new tab. I don't want a PowerShell tab. I want an Ubuntu tab. Click, click, Ubuntu 01. I can copy, paste, now right click, left click, right arrow. 144 should be Ubuntu 02. Got it. Good this over actually. Let me just get rid of this window here. I'll do it all out of this main console. And this SSH command I mentioned before, I think in the first video, 68.169.16. These are all private IPs on the LAN segment I'm using for the lab. And this is pretty much the exact same way you would connect these machines on the network if they were a physical machine connected to your network with that IP, right? Got Ubuntu 01, got Ubuntu 02, got my Fedora 01, and we're going to set to getting those 10 IKPs made. Ubuntu, we're going to cd/etc netplan. If I ls-la in here, I'm going to see the directory. Now let me try to do this. Normally I use an editor called VI or Vim. Ubuntu doesn't have it by default, and it's not the most user-friendly of editors out there. So do we have Nano? We do have Nano. I will sudo nano, which is my editor, and tell it I want to open this YAML file, 00-installer-config.yaml. All right. Got the commands along the bottom that'll tell you like what you can do, and your cursor moves with arrow keys. I'm going to take out this line because I'm not going to worry about that actually. I have an undeleted. Oh my goodness, I don't know how to undelete a nano. So we'll just get that out of there. And I'm looking at a cheat sheet over here. This is the name of my Ethernet adapter as found during the installer. We're not wanting DHCP. I want this. The spacing is super important in the YAML here. And we're going to make Ubuntu 01 be .71. These are our DNS server names. I'm going to feed in ones that I actually use in my lab. Those look like public IPs, but they're not. This is like if I put in a single name when I try to ping or connect to something, it's going to put this on the end of it to complete the DNS lookup. This is the Ubuntu way to set the routes. I say Ubuntu way, it's the netplan way. And I think I'll do Control X. It should ask me to save, I think. Save modified buffer. Yes, let's do. File name to write. Sounds right. I'm going to enter without changing anything. ls-la again. Let's look at the contents of that file. At file name. Okay. Now we have sudo netplan try. You don't want to apply if you're remoted into the box because it probably is going to disconnect us. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's definitely going to disconnect us because we're connected to that other IP. I'm just going to apply. Brave New World. If you typoed that in your netplan apply and it breaks your connection like this, and then you Control C, no. Let me just close it. Open a new one. Try to get back into the box. We're on 71 instead now, right? Hey, it applied. Oh. Why did it? Weird. So we are going to have to go spelunking. Go again. We'll log in here. This gives us direct access. It's like being at the keyboard. Is that not working? Rebooting Ubuntu 01 to see if I did something wrong. It's a little strange. It did answer so briefly, and then it was like, no. Bum, bum, bum. Now I can ping it. Strange. Nope. I was trying to ping that, not IP routed. Oh, this is interesting. With that, I wonder if my router is going to be being stupid and not allow this for some reason. You know, we can test that because Fedora does things a little different. For Fedora, setting a static IP. Here it is. Get it out of the way. Run Fedora 01. Have it? We do not. Network manager. Oh, one word there. Dash TUI. That's text user interface. I think. Did I remember right? Yee. So, what this is it's going to provide us a way to use kind of a little text-based GUI. Sudo nm GUI. It's a lot easier than feeding things into nm CLI or network manager CLI. Edit a connection. Edit. We want manual. Go add 73/24. 11. And I go here on IPv6 config. Disabled. Okay. Okay. And remember that? There it is. That was a tab complete. I typed in ANP and there was only one, so it let me complete it. That should bump me off. What's that? And let's see if we can get back in there. 73. Yes. Okay, so My Ubuntu box has no problem here. Or not my Ubuntu box, my Fedora box. Oh, this seems to work. That 8.8.8.8 is Google DNS server. Let's see here. Wonder if it's just... Do I need to reconfigure SSH? Ubuntu uses a dpkg thing to do system stuff like this. This should kind of redo the OpenSSH server config if I remember it. Whoop. Interesting. That not get my Google on. That not. I can SSH localhost, right? SSHTS running. 92.168.169.71. Let's see if something else has 71. Whoa, well that's interesting. I don't know what that is. I wonder what RPM 71 wasn't in my DNS. So I guess start this back up. Let's see here. What led me to believe that that was potentially the issue is that the connectivity would come and go, right? I was pinging, it was working, and then it would stop. That's a symptom of ARP, or Address Resolution Protocol, working in the background. Not diving in on that nugget, but just wanted to throw it out there. We'll put this up and we're going to shuffle that from 71 up to 74 and see if that behaves any better. After I make sure that 74 is not. I wanted the ping. 74? Yeah. All right. Well, that was a wild ride. I didn't expect going. No. Netplan. Nano 0. Way over here. Replace that. We said 74. Then X. Yes, save the buffer. Yes, keep the name. And try. Oh, I need sudo. What this does is like, if the IP is not changing and you're remote, if you saw the screen, you generally know it's probably okay to continue, but you always want to make sure that you have what would be called out-of-band connectivity, something without needing the network, to be able to fix the network if you're fiddling with the network settings. In our case, with VirtualBox, it's the direct VirtualBox console. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter and keep those changes. Oop. Yeah, what's happening? Oh, this isn't going to offer me because I started it in the foreground. Down. All right. Close that. Again. And let's start. Minimize. Don't close. Oh. And SSH 74. We should land on Ubuntu 01. No. Come on. Still booting. Oh. Did I not click it? Oh, it's there. Thing. Oh, actually copy this right here. This is saying, hey, there's a mismatch with this host key. But I've been fiddling in the lab, so I expect it. I'm just going to get rid of that from my cache. And now I should be able to. Goodness. Yes. Yes. That's not what I wanted. I wanted TKCN. Alright, finally, we're back. Ubuntu 01, Ubuntu 02. Get on the Fedora machine. It was 73. See, this is why DNS comes in handy, right? With DNS, we could call them by Fedora 01, Fedora 01, or Ubuntu 02 in our case, or whatever we wanted to call them in DNS. We still need to add the static here. Netplan, ping 192.168.169.72 just to make sure it doesn't respond. Get us in that problem again. All right. Hear that? do I have VI? I do have VI. Sudo VI Spazzer 1. This is the editor I was talking about. I prefer. It's just because when I first started, it was the only thing available on the Solaris boxes that I was having to work on. DD to delete a line. Arrows down. False. Let's see here. Let's see if I can copy paste this. Do. Copy my notes. Up here. 71 needs to be 72. R2. Place it with 2. Right quit. Colon right quit. Lie. And then that should throw us offline because change the IP. Boom. Open your terminal again. Probably a cleaner way to do that. And we're going to go back to Ubuntu 02, right? Yes, we'll save it. Here we go. Got Ubuntu 02, Ubuntu 01, Fedora 01. Now, as long as, if I were to go shut them all down, copy this so I don't have to repeat myself over and over. It'll make me take the password over and over. Come on, fingers, don't fail me. There we go. Now, 74 is, and then, oh, I grab that. Oop. Right click to copy, right click to paste. 72, right click to copy. Let's see here. 3. See, none of these should be responding. Destination host unreachable because they're not turned on. I can come back here. Can start, headless start. Headless start. Headless start. They should start pinging. Oh, we've got one. These went from destination host unreachable to 64 bytes from this. How long it took is over here. Oh, Fedora 01 is responding again. If this went bad. Nope, I'm just being impatient. Close that up. Continue running in background. Okay. There it goes. It starts pinging. Control C. Gives us stats. Control C. Control C. These stats show kind of like how many packets were sent, how many received, how many errors, packet loss rates, all that good stuff when you're running a ping. I'm gonna hit up, up, up. That's the one I want. That should be Ubuntu 01. We're back in remotely. Up, 72. Yep. Back in remotely. Back in remotely. Fedora 01. Down here you can see an host name. Ubuntu 02. Looks like we got some updates here to do. And Ubuntu 01. Looks like its updates are already done. I'm going to go ahead and do the updates here. Sudo apt update. Admin password there. What this is going to do is make sure that it's got the local cache of what's in the remote repos proper. And I'm not even going to list them. I'm just going to upgrade them. Going to tell us what all is going to upgrade. Again, I don't really care. It's a lab. I want to upgrade it all. Dunk it. All right. That's pretty much all there is to it. I guess it looks like you just open VirtualBox, start each one headless, minimize rather than close. I swear there's a way to run these like as a service so that you don't have to have this window open. That'll be something I can go digging around and find the solution for y'all for if anyone's actually interested in knowing how to do that. But this gets it out of the way, and you can have, separate terminal window open. Each of these, I've got all three of them open. Say I want a separate window to my Fedora box here. And grab my SSH here so I don't have to remember the IP and just paste it. Yes, I'm going to accept it. And you can see us both here. Coming in from my Windows box here. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Next steps, you'd be like, what are my packages? Lots of them, right? Oh. Tons and tons and tons of packages. So you got to know now, what do you want to do with these? And I think the next steps for our lab, kind of talking about it with my wife, ask my partner in life, what in the world can I do next? And I'm just going to kind of walk through, if I were to take down my lab and set it back up, what would I do next, right? In my case, I would probably set up DNS servers next so I could do ping Fedora 01 and it would actually come back and I don't have to remember those IPs. DNS being a domain name system or domain name server, depending on the context, converts an IP address into one of those domain names. It makes working with networked devices as a whole so much easier. You don't have to have just a list of notes over on your text pad to the right to remember where everything is. Again, thanks for joining us for the lab. I'm hoping again that you're enjoying it. Put the questions in the comments down below, like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And I'll be back probably next weekend unless I just completely get the hankering to do it this weekend, and we'll do bind DNS server installations. Probably just on Ubuntu. I might do one on Ubuntu and one on Fedora, but that would kind of defeat the direction I'm currently headed with it. We'll see. Anyway, I'll catch y'all on the next time. Y'all have a good weekend.